Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds. Welcome back. I'm Gavin Webber, the host of the show, and this is episode 357 of Ask the Cheeseman, where you get to ask your home cheese making questions, and hopefully I can answer them, so that'll be good fun. We've got a new playlist today, so enjoy the new tunes, so that's always good fun. What else have we got? Oh, a big thank you to all of the members and patrons. Let's just bring that up. So, big thank you to Jeffrey, who's in the chat, for renewing his YouTube membership, and thank you to everybody there on the screen for continuing to support the show on a monthly basis, and also to all of my patrons who also support the show financially. Basically, it's just a choice for whether you want to do YouTube memberships or patrons. It's up to you. The perks are the same. So, yeah, thank you to everybody who does support the show financially. Without your help, the show wouldn't go on. So thank you very much. And as you can see, because of all the support, 357 episodes. It's just fantastic. Okay, now what is in the pipeline for videos on the channel? Let me just bring that up. Let's put that away. Bring up the Trello board so everybody can see it. Here we are. So as you may or may not have seen, the pizza mozzarella low moisture video is up online. So go and check that out. That's doing really well as far as views goes. So I'm very happy with the way that's turned out. Probably not the right icon, the right thumbnail, but yeah, I've got 3 on rotation at the moment, so yeah, you may see more than one. So the next video I'm creating, just a subset of the pizza mozzarella one, which is around the Hanna Instruments Halo 2 pH tester for cheese. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on that because it's Bluetooth and it has a companion or Hanna Lab app that it can connect to, and you can do the calibrations remotely. I'm going to go into depth a little bit more on how that works because I didn't think it was probably appropriate to cover it in the pizza mozzarella cheese when the star of the show was really the cheese, not the pH tester. And as you saw, that was a sponsored video, so big shout out to Hanna Instruments for doing that. Hanna Instruments Australia. I didn't hear anything back from the parent company, so yeah, so I'll be doing another video on that. I am going to be making yogurt this week, so let me just put that in the video shoot. I'm going to make Greek yogurt 2 different ways. I'm going to use the Formaggio machine to make the yogurt, and I'm going to be making yogurt with a thermos. I've got a yogurt thermos, and that'll keep the milk nice and warm as well during the 12 to 24 hours that it takes to make yogurt. So I'm going to make it 2 ways and see which one's which one tastes better and which one forms better. So that'll be an interesting little experiment to do. When I get my hands on goat's milk again, I'll make the Valence again, and I'll put the finishing touches on how I enhance my veggie patch for retirement. Merv, who's in the chat, came to visit the other day, and so that was good fun, and he had a look at my veggie patch, and I think he enjoyed it, so yeah, it was good. So I think people will enjoy that video, even if it doesn't perform very well. I don't care. I just want to document the process I went through when I made the revamped the garden. So that'll be good fun. Anyway, so that's what's coming up in the pipeline, including a whole bunch of other cheeses you can probably see here as well, and a whole bunch of ideas that I've got cheeses 4, so I'm never going to run out of ideas. If you've got an idea for a video, then yeah, pop it into the chat, and I'll write it down and put it on my ideas list here. So that'll be good fun. Anyway, moving right along. Back to my head. There we are. Okay. Alright, so let's say good day to a few people, of course. Oh, sorry. Last thing on the list was the gallery is going to be at 30 minutes past hours. A few photos, not many, but they were well worth showing, so that'll be good fun. What was I going to do? I was going to say... right, let's say g'day. Yeah, why not? Lots of people here. G'day to Shauna, of course. Or usually the first person on the list. Jeffrey, g'day. It's Storm Raven. G'day, how are you? Who else we got there? Who's the next one? John Hayes. G'day, John. Lovely to see you, mate. Up there in Canada. Paul. G'day, Paul. Lovely to see you, mate. As always. Luigi. Hello. From South Texas. G'day, Luigi. Fiona and Herb. G'day, Herb. Keith. Hello, Keith. Lovely to see you. Avonwood. Avonwood. I do remember you being on the stream many, many years ago. Memwait, good morning from WA. Is that Western Australia or Washington? I don't know. Who else we got? That's it, I think. Right. So, I think that's everybody. But it says there's 23 people watching, so maybe not. If you haven't said g'day, pop your thing in Western Australia, mate. Thank you very much, mate. Just let's go with a theme here. Shauna says, I love the Veggie Patch raised beds. Where did you get them? I got them from Birdies, which is a southeast Queensland company. I think they're on the Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, the one below Brisbane. What's that? Gold Coast. Yeah, Birdies beds. I'm trying to get a brand deal with them, as you can. So yeah, it'd be interesting. I just want to get a discount for anybody before I show the video, of course. I'd love to do a sponsored one. They didn't. I paid for everything. They didn't pay for any of the beds or anything like that. But yeah, I've reached out to them and we'll see how we go. So that'll be good fun. Yeah, Birdies is the place. You can pick up a very generic Birdies bed in Bunnings, which is the big hardware store here in Australia. But I bought them directly via their website, Shauna, and they were they were easy to put together. A lot of screws, nuts and screws, but it, like, when my back was really bad when it first started, and I thought, no, I'm going to do this. I just did a little bit every day, so I didn't build a whole bed in a day, which you could easily do in 2 hours if you didn't have a back injury. But yeah, I just took it, did a few panels at a time and got them done. So. And then asked Ben to help me to put them in place and got rid of all the... Anyway, once you see the video, you'll see everything. So that'll be good fun. But thanks, Shauna. Right, so first question of the day, if I can find it, is from... something about a Chinese cheese. Where the heck is it? It was from John, I believe. No, there it is. No, can't find it. I don't know where it's gone. Maybe it's in this one. I'll have to read it here. John said something about Rushan or Rushan. Where is it? Sorry, John, I'll find it in a second. No, it's gone missing for some reason. I had a glitch in the Matrix. Anyway, I'll read it off this, but it says, John... says, has anybody tried Rushan? I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway, China's oldest cheese, made by heating cow's milk with sour milk, stringing with large chopsticks until it curdles like mozzarella before being stretched on bamboo frames. No, I haven't tried it. A very interesting sounding cheese, so that's fantastic. But I went to Wikipedia whilst we're waiting for the show to start, so let's just have a quick look at that. Here we are. So it says it's a cow's milk cheese from Yunnan, China, made by the Bai people of China, made with fresh cow's milk, curds that are pulled and stretched into thin sheets, wrapped around long bamboo sticks and hung until yellow and leather dry. Served in a number of ways. One method uses a charcoal grill to warm and soften the milk fat, or the milk fan. Sorry, it's called a fan. Traditionally, the inside is spread with rose petal jam. Alternatively, the Rushan is simply deep fried until golden and crisp. Can I get a bigger... There we go, there's a big picture. So, essentially, it sounds to me like they make mozzarella. So they're using fresh cow's milk, add some sour to cow's milk or clabber, which will have the lactic bacteria in it, and it will acidify the milk. And they must have some method during the process where they can determine the time to stretch it, the pH of between 5 and 5.3, and then go for it and stretch it over these big bamboo poles, and then pull it off and eat it. There's another picture. There you go. There's a guy making some street food with the cheese. So it's rolled up in a big lollipop stick and then grilled over a fire. So that looks interesting. Nice looking cheese. So yeah, thanks John for the suggestion. But yeah, I don't think I haven't made it. But I think if you made mozzarella, it'll be very, very similar. So there you go. Right, moving right along. Next question is... before we do, let's celebrate Paul, who's just gifted 5 YouTube memberships. Thank you, Paul. Who picked them up? Zombicus, Marianne Cruz, Shady Hill Homestead, Ivy Wishart, and Jack D all picked up the membership. So congratulations to everybody. Well done. Brendan says, do you know if Hannah Instruments will honour the 10% on buffer, storage and cleaning solutions, or does the discount only work on the actual pH meter? I do know that, Brendan. Yes, they do. They honour it on all of the products that I listed in the description of that video. Which does include all the buffers, so the 4.01, the 7.01, the storage, cleaning, what else was there? They even gave me a 10.01, but I didn't use it because I wasn't measuring anything alkaline, only things acidic, so I needed a 2-point calibration. So yes, they will honour that. So if you want to pick up the solutions, then go for it, mate, and just use the coupon code Cheeseman on their website, and you'll be good to go. You'll get 10% off. Okay, so next question. Stop moving it. Oh right, that's why. I hit the wrong key. Oh, you're a duffer, Gav. Hang on. I'm just laughing amongst myself. There is a question. Keith says, hello from the US. It looks like raw milk might be available for us here, not necessarily for the right science reasons. I haven't heard anything more on that, Keith. I didn't realise that the Orange Dictator over there was going to change things. So, yeah, unusual. But, yeah, if you can get raw milk, I would pasteurise it myself, but personally. But, yeah, anyway. Jeffrey has a question, says, with Belper cannoli, with Belper cannoli cheese, adding fresh garlic to the cheese, I bought fresh garlic. I'm not having a very good stream, am I? Hang on, I need a sip of coffee. Jeffrey says, with the Belper cannoli cheese, adding fresh garlic to the cheese, I thought fresh garlic can cause botulism. Is this true? Yes, it can. If botulism is a not anaerobic, it's the one without oxygen. Anyway, so if it's excluded from oxygen, then it can cause botulism. When you're using fresh garlic in Belper cannoli, you only age it for a very short time. And yeah, as long as everything's clean, then you won't have any issues. Anaerobic, that's it. Thank you, Brendan. Yeah, so if botulism doesn't need oxygen to form the spores that it has, so as long as it's you keep the oxygen up when you're ripening the cheeses and you don't leave them too long, then you don't have too many problems. I've never heard of anybody who's made Belper cannoli have any issues per se, but yeah, go for it. Here's what I can say. You won't have any issues. Next one is from Fiona. Says, thanks for the Tilsit suggestion. It's in the cave ready for the second wash today. My hubby ancestry just happens to be Prussian. Oh, very nice. Yeah, so it was when Prussia was really big, before Tilsit was part of it during before World War One. So yeah, that's where the Tilsit came from. But really nice cheese. You'll be very, very pleasantly surprised, Fiona. Avonwood says, G'day Gavin, I would like to try cheese making. What are the easiest cheeses to start with? What are intermediate cheeses and what are more difficult cheeses? My goodness, how many days have we got? So I'll start with beginners cheeses. So I do have a video on the subject. Let me just pull it up. Let's go to the second monitor. So we're going to go search my channel. Beginners. No, that's not what I'm looking for. They're not my sound. What the heck is going? Search my stuff. There we go. Beginners cheese list with no cheese cave. I was on Ask the Cheeseman number 18 before I actually did them live. So let me just pull that up. This will help a lot. So pop that into the chat. There we go. So go and check that out, Avonwood. As far as intermediate, I wouldn't run before I could crawl. So just check those ones out first. Intermediate cheeses are ones that you don't need too much more equipment. The ones that aren't mold ripened. And more difficult cheeses are when the process is more technical. And you use molds like Penicillium candidum, Brevibacteria linens, Penicillium roqueforti. They are more difficult cheeses to make. So intermediate cheeses are anything that are probably semi-hard and hard. But there are a few exceptions to that. Some other beginners cheeses that aren't in that list that I talked about are things like Yesterday's Cheese, invented by Tracy Johnson over at cheeseneeds.com. Guido's Hard Italian Cheese is another good one for beginners, and of course the what's the other one? Oh, I forget. Oh, Caffilli. Of course, Caffilli is another easy one, which will get you into the making cheeses in the English style, so like cheddars. So Caffilli is a good one, and it matures in 3 weeks. As well does Yesterday's and Guido's Hard Italian Cheese. Alrighty. Shauna says, I make yogurt twice a week, Greek and coconut in the Thermomix. Ah, there you go. So yeah, I will be using the Fromaggio to make one of those. Well, I'll make 2 Greek yogurts, one. So yeah, so it's got a setting to do yogurt, so I'll give it a go and see what happens. Fiona says, does the size of the cheese make any difference to the maturing time? Yes, of course, it does. The larger the cheese, the longer it takes to mature. For instance, looking at the size of, say, Parmigiano Reggiano, which is about 60 to 70 kilos. I want to say kilos. That's what I remember anyway. So, yeah, really big cheese, and it takes a year minimum to mature. The size of the parmesans that we make are probably a lot less. So they, I've matured them at 10 months and they've tasted fantastic because they're a lot smaller. Case in point, say if you make a camembert style that's bigger than about 1.5 inches or 7 centimeters high, if you make it bigger, it takes a heck of a lot longer to mature because it's a bigger cheese. Same goes with brining. The bigger the cheese, the longer you need to brine it to get proper salt saturation as well. So hope that helps. Paul says I'll have to check out the garden video. It's not released yet. I'm working on that one this week, mate. Merv says, you have a great veggie garden, Gav. I think I need to convert to raised garden beds, getting hard on the knees. And it's exactly, Merv. And that's the reason I did it, mate, was because, the back was shot. July, August, September last year, I was a mess, as you well know, if you saw the video that I put out about the back injury. It was just crazy. So I thought, I can't bend over on the garden beds I had, and you'll see what I had in the video, so I'll get that done because I don't care how many views it gets, I just enjoy making it. Anyway, thanks, Murph, for your confidence on the garden beds, but thanks, mate. John has a question. Did I miss this one? He says, is there a method of do's and don'ts when coming to try to come up with your own cheese ideas that's not available, like a hybrid cheese? Yes, always salted. Really, before you go off making your own recipes, it's probably best to get a few cheeses under your belt. Honestly, you need to know the process. You need to know the science behind why you do certain things, when you cut curds, why you cut the curds, the size you do cut them, moisture content of cheeses, how to age them properly, how to add the right amount of salt, all that sort of stuff. And it's, I've only, over the last few years, I've started making my own variations of common cheeses, as you've seen on the channel. In fact, the pizza mozzarella one, I came up with the idea from, where is it, this one? Oh, come out, you beast. From this book here, from Paul Thomas. Excuse me. He has a mention of pizza mozzarella in the book, saying stir it longer and cut the curds smaller. But I looked at his recipe and I'd never made it that way before. Never made pasta filata cheese that way. So I looked back at some of my own recipes and thought, all right, so what do I need to modify to make the curds a lot drier, but still be able to stretch and still be salty enough so it will preserve longer than normal mozzarella, because it's not going to be submerged in a brine because it's low moisture and I don't want any more moisture to get in it. So how am I going to keep it viable for more than 7 days without any brine being in brine? So I had to think about it and came up with a cling wrap thought version, and tested freezing it as well, and that worked fine. So you can freeze the pizza mozzarella. But do's and don'ts. Learn a lot about cheese making before you even think of making your own hybrid recipe. The reason all these cheeses are popular is because they work, and they have been tested over thousands of years, and more recently been tested using scientific methods to prove, that works for that. What this cheese works for that reason, and that's how it works, and it's safe to consume. So that's what I'd say about that, John. Keith says in the US you can get them through Epic Gardening. Yes, I watched that gardening channel as well. It's really good. I only have one Birdie's beds, but I have a couple of Veggie garden beds, similar but made in China. They have a sub-irrigation system. Oh, very interesting. I enjoy the process of watering by hand. Like I've only got five Birdie's garden beds in the garden, so watering by hand is not such a chore. During summer it gets a little bit laborious near the end of summer, but most of the crops are finished by then anyway, so it's no big deal. There's only probably 2 or 3 beds to keep watering. And seeing we're going through a drought here where I am, we haven't had substantial rainfall for, I can't remember when, a long time. I'm still having to water my garden beds even in winter, so when we have our most rainfall. But yeah, that's a good tip. Yes, you can get, there are links to Birdie's beds through Epic Gardening. They do import them from Australia, would you believe? Okay, Paul has a question, and he says, how interchangeable are MA 4001 and MA 4002? I read it was okay to substitute, but how will it affect the final cheese, if any? It won't affect the final cheese at all. It is almost exactly the same starter culture. There are slight variations for what's known as phage control. So sometimes there are viruses that can attack lactic bacteria, and if you're in the commercial cheese-making field, factory, and you use the same starter culture over and over and over again, there are some viruses that can develop in the vat that attack those starter cultures and make them not as efficient as they should be. So what what culture making manufacturers did was slight variations in the culture loads and culture types, so change the way the bacteria work, and those viruses then don't attack them. So what commercial dairies do, or creameries, or whatever you want to call them, cheesemakers, they change those types of cultures on a regular basis. I don't know how often, but I know they do. So 1 month they may use MA 4001 to make their farmhouse cheddars or cheddars, what have you. The next month they'll swap over to MA 4002, and that way they don't risk any phage infections from viruses that can attack those lactic bacteria. So there you go. For the home cheese maker, it really doesn't matter, because unless you're making the same cheese over and over and over again in your kitchen, and more likely than not you're not, then you don't have to worry about it. But it is a great question. Thanks, Paul, for asking it. Sebastian, oh my God, I caught you live. Thanks, mate. Good to see you. Merv said, whatever happened to the Mount Cottrell cheese? Merv, fantastic question. It is still on my list of cheeses to remake. First time it didn't work out so well. Problem is, I went to the supermarket last week, to Coles, who are the only ones that seem to stock this milk in Victoria. The goat's milk that I was using, that it works, is what is it? Goodness me, I've forgotten the name of the freaking milk. Hang on, gotta refresh my memory. What's the goat's milk cheddar I made? Let's see if I can find it. Gav's goat's milk cheddar. There we go. Oh, Gav. Hang on. On to the second monitor. Here we go. Can he find it? That's me. Hey, there we go. Caldermead Farm. Yeah, is the milk. Now, I couldn't get this milk, Merv, for come hell nor high water. So, yeah, it was a bit of an issue. So, for anybody who wants to know, this is the goat milk cheddar video. Can I share this for everybody? Yeah, just in case. You want to have a quick gecko, which in Australian is a look. Yeah, so Caldermead Farm. I couldn't get the milk. They were sold out. Every single Coles within a... How far did I search? 10 20 kilometre radius. I went to every single Coles within a 20 kilometre radius, and no goat's milk for you, unfortunately. So that's what happened to the Mount Cottrell cheese. I've got full footage of what happened, but I don't want to release it. I want to have a good product at the end so that you can replicate. I know exactly what went wrong because I did some more research in some of the books that I have around, when making that style of cheese, what you should actually do. I missed a step. Didn't drain it long enough, basically. Anyway, moving right along. But thanks, Merv. Now it's time for the gallery. And Merv and Shauna will be quite excited about that because they've got entries today. So let's go to the second monitor. First of all, today we have in the gallery, we have a submission by Merv. It says, "Hi Gav, update on my brie. After adding the wet sponge in the rack, as you can see here, he's holding the rack up with some wet sponges. And turning more often, the white mould took off. The gadget in the corner is a GoV temperature and humidity sensor that sends information to my phone. You can set alarms to notify you." Oh, that's fantastic. Now, only problem with these, I would wet this down with, not wet. I would sanitize the GoV. I don't know if you have or haven't, to stop any cross-contamination. So I would wipe it down with, say, isopropyl alcohol and use that as a sanitizer for the GoV to make sure that, and I'd take the little strap off as well. You don't want that in there. Just a suggestion, Merv, if you haven't already done it, mate, I would sanitize it definitely with isopropyl alcohol. Don't dunk it into your sanitizer, but yeah, just clean it off using that. I noticed the handprint in the cheese. Perfect, I love it. But yeah, you can see that Penicillium roqueforti grows little fibres as it grows, and that's why when you put your hand on it to turn it, and obviously Merv has very clean hands because there's no contamination from that. But yeah, it has fibres that grow up, and you can pat them down to dampen them down a little bit. All right, Hamish, get down, please, mate. So the next cheese that Merv sent in, he said he's also made my Cotswold cheese, and you can see the chives there and little bits of onions, I think, as well. So yeah, good looking cheese, Merv. Well done. Okay, so the next photo is from Shauna. And Shauna sent this in and says, "Good morning, Gavin and Kim. I've attached a photo of half my Gruyere made on the 21st of April following your recipe. Obviously, I think I have a late blowing issue. My question is it late or early? Sorry, I'll start again. Obviously, I have a blowing issue. My question is this early or late? I think late. I noticed it started to bolt last week and kept it in the cave. A close eye on it. Cut it this morning and have revac the two halves. It's not due to mature until October 21st. Do you think it'll be okay to use grated? It smells divine this morning. As always, your words of wisdom are greatly appreciated. And of course, happy belated birthday. Thank you again for all you do, Shauna. Thank you, Shauna. Yeah, that's a typical case of late blowing. So you got some irregular eye formation, and at the edges you can see there that I don't know if you can hear Hamish in the background whinging. Hamish, quiet. Good boy. Right, there are some fissures starting up. So you caught it early, which is good. So there's not a lot of butyric acid development in the cheese. Real late blow, it would have a crack all the way through the middle, and at that stage I would say throw it away. But at this very early stage, Shauna, you can't guarantee what the cows are fed, unfortunately, even with pasteurised milk. But look, if you think it's okay and it smells okay, very hard to do. But if it had gone on much longer, I would have said ditch it. But we've had a conversation offline, and and Shauna's going to do what she does with it. But yeah, you could grate that. I think that would be okay. But yeah, if it had gone on much longer, then yeah, I wouldn't mature it any further for fear of developing more butyric acid and creating gas like that in the cheese. So it is what it is. All right, well, thank you, Shauna and Merv, for sending in your photos. I am going to have to take a very short break, and then I'll come back and show you how we do that. I've got to let the doggos out. So I will be back very soon. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that elevator music. So, how do you send in photos to the gallery? You do it like thus. Hang on, let me have a look. Gav, get your act together. We go to the channel page, and basically, see this bit here? It says, do you want to become a curd nerd? You basically click on that. You get a little pop-up thing, and you go down to email address, and you click on that, and that's where you send all of your photos. So please do that. I won't click on it at the moment, but yeah, send them through. I would love to show them on the next gallery next week or the week after or what have you. But yeah, send them through. And everybody loves looking at everybody else's cheeses. It's a bit of a voyeur thing, I think, but yeah, it's cheese voyeurism. I don't know if there's such a thing, but yeah, I'll be quiet now. One thing I'm going to do, can I do it from here? No, it won't let me do it. I want to drop some memberships like Paul did. I can do that as well. Can I do this without making too much of a mess? Here we go. There we go. Drop some memberships in the membership pile. Hopefully you'll get some. There we go. It's working. All right, fantastic. So let me just go back there and get rid of that. So pick those up if you haven't already got one, and you'll get early access to cheese making videos as I produce them. There's other perks as well. Obviously, you get a little special icon next to your name in YouTube. So enjoy the membership for a month. You get it for a month. If you want to renew it, then yeah, renew it. No obligation whatsoever. Okay, let's move right along. Paul said he's going to send us yesterday's pictures for the next gallery. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. Cool Cat's turned up. Thanks, Cool Cat. Lovely to see you, mate. Question for Brendan says, I don't have a long basket you use for the low moisture moths. Do you reckon I can just ball it instead? Yeah, you could, Brendan. Or you could use the the square feta baskets. But look, you can put it in any shape, basically. It does need to be moulded. I think it's better because it's easier to salt then as well. Remember that second salting I did? So like I put 2% salt into the curds before I added the boiling water. Some of that salt would have been washed out. I did let it absorb for 5 minutes before I put the boiling water on. And then I did a second salting when it was in the basket. So that's the reason I used the long basket. In the US, I think it's called block mozzarella. Same thing. But yeah, it's in that block shape. And for good reason, I think, for the second salting that I came up with. A ball would make it a bit harder. You would have to brine it, probably. Hard to keep the salt on there. So there you go. Next question is from more of an observation. Merv says, thanks, Brenda, for that question. I have a Hannah meat pH meter and we'll have to give it a service. Yeah, should work, Merv. The cheese version has the tip specifically designed for insertion into milk solids, so I'm not sure how much the meat one, what kind of probe it has. Probably very similar. Let me just go and have a look at the Hannah website. Can we do that? I'm sure we can. Hannah Instruments Australia. And is there a meat? Well, there is a meat one. I'll just pop it up on screen, mate, and see. There we go. So that's the meat one. Meat pH tester. The tip looks... no, we can't click on the picture. The tip looks very similar. This is not the Halo 2. This is just the normal one. Doesn't have Bluetooth. What's the resolution? 0.01. Specialized electrode for spot checking during meat processing. Comes with everything necessary to measure straight away. Yeah, look, I think that you could probably use that one for cheese, Merv. The tip looks very similar to the one that's on mine, than the cheese version. Do we have a copy of the cheese version? Let's have a look. Can we do this? Do we have the Halo? Right, so that's the Halo 2 for meat. For cheese, sorry. Similar sort of tip, so I think it'll probably work, no problems at all. Yeah, so you could probably give it a go, Merv, to answer your question. Just get the calibration fluids if you haven't already got them, and yeah, go for it. Okay. Alright, Jeffrey said, Belper Canola in your video said you will vacuum pack them. Actually, I didn't, Jeffrey, sorry. In the video, I didn't vacuum pack them. I kept them. So in the they don't keep very long. They're not. You can age them in a ripening box and let them dry out, but they do tend to get a little bit of mold, which you can just brush off. It's only, you know, surface mold like you do get on any cheese. Yeah, I know you don't want to die, and neither did I. So I just let them dry out. So, yeah, it'll be fine. So, Paul says, I recently saw a video of a tour of a Parma factory in Italy, and I thought they said they used 50% milk, 50% skim. That is different than the recipes I've seen? Thanks. Okay, yep. So the fat content for homemade Parmesan is 2%. So yeah, they do use a mixture of full fat and skimmed milk. Skim milk should have like 0.1% fat. So all the cream has been skimmed out of it. That's why they use Pearson square to adjust the milk fat content. So for those who haven't seen how to adjust milk fat content, I'll bring up the video now. Let's have a look at that fat. Let's look for fat. Alright, so calculating milk fat content for cheese making using Pearson square. Let's just share that. So what it is basically about is that you can add full fat and skim milk and or cream or whatever to adjust the fat percentage of your milk. Parmesan needs about 2%. Most cows' milks, or say Friesian Holstein, is 3.8, Jersey is 5%, and every other variety in between. So, yeah, they definitely use 2%. So there you go. John says, Gavin, how come Greek yogurt people say they are more healthier than others? Look, it's a bit of bit of a furphy, because all Greek yogurt is strained yogurt. Essentially, it's thicker than, say, natural yogurt. Look at, you go and buy a thing of natural yogurt and go buy a tub of Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt's always thicker. They just strain it through butter muslin and it becomes thicker. Now, they can use different starter cultures in yogurts. There are a few types, some that make them really tangy. They're fast acidifiers. It just has more Lactobacillus lactis subspecies bulgaricus, which is a very fast acidifier and gives it that really sharp yogurty tang. There are other yogurt cultures that make them, smooth and creamy, less tang, so less acidified. So Greek yogurt does have probably a couple more lactic bacteria in them. They also have a bacteria called acidophilus, which is it's said to promote gut health, which I think it does. But Greek yogurt has that, where some of the other ones do not. That's probably what they're saying. Anyway, moving right along. And Merv said, good call on the cord. Just removed it. Good on you, mate. Well done. Carry On says, I just bought the cheese pH tester and it worked great. Fantastic. Well done. What time is it? Oh, gee, quarter of an hour to go. Brendan rightly says that Pearson Square is used in many different industries and applications. It is indeed. You can use it to calculate, lots of stuff. But in cheese making, it's used to calculate fat content. Given two different levels of inputs, and what is your output, your desired output, and how many litres of each do you need to add together to get the required output you want, in this case, percentage of fat. So there you go. I've done that. I've done everything. If anybody's got any questions that I have missed, then please pop them into the chat. If you have any more questions, I've only got 10 minutes to go before I have to go and track down the dogs that I let out in the backyard, who could be getting up to mischief at this very moment, knowing those two little rapscallions. But there is a question. This is from Dominic. Hello, Dominic. Welcome back, mate. Milk kefir drinkers are healthier than Greek yogurt eaters, so there's that. So kefir grains have a multitude of lactic bacteria within them. They have thermophilic in the form of ST, or Streptococcus thermophilus. They have the Bulgaricus subspecies thermophilic culture. They also have a couple of mesophilic cultures within the kefir grains. They also have, sometimes, it depends on where you get your grains from, they also can have B. linens or Brevibacterial linens within them as well. But making cheese using kefir grains are sometimes hit and miss. You don't know the exact strains that you're going to get within it. So there's that. And also, you don't know the relative strength of the colonies of culture that you're propagating. So that's why I prefer to promote the use of direct vat inoculated freeze-dried cultures, which we sell here at Little Green Workshops as well, because for the beginners, they're easy to use. You can't muck it up too much. Using kefir grains, and I'm not saying anything against you, Dominic, you're just talking about kefir drinkers, but using kefir grains in cheese making, or making up a culture using milk and kefir grains to add to your cheese is, in my humble opinion, quite hit and miss. It's not good for the home cheese maker who's got limited time, limited resources. They're doing it as a hobby. you want an accurate result, or you want a result that's better than that's half decent and is edible. So, but anyway, good point about the kefir drinkers there, Dominic. I don't know if it has acidophilus. I wouldn't know. Brendan says sausage making, alcohol mixing. Yeah, there's some good uses for Pearson Square for sure. And as you rightly say, Brendan, too much chance if you use kefir grains. Yeah, indeed. Okay. Avon Wood said, have you ever milked a cow, goat, sheep to make your cheeses from start to finish? I have milked a cow from start to finish. For those who don't know, I grew up on a dairy farm when I was a wee lad, and left when I was 16, joined the Navy. So I have milked a cow from start to finish, but that was like in the late 70s. I joined the Navy in 1980. Just goes to show how old I am. But no, I haven't milked one from start to finish to make a cheese on the channel, which is a good challenge. I can't think of how I would do it because I don't know anybody with an animal that I could go and milk without going into a proper dairy type thing. But yeah, difficult because they all use machines these days. Very little hand milking going on, that's for sure. But a great idea. A great idea. Brennan says, I have. Oh, good on you, mate. Well done. I hope you did it for a demonstration like we saw in that little Instagram video. That would be really good. So, yeah, good on you, mate. Jeffrey asks, when making farmhouse cheddar using MA 4001, is this a good one? Yes, it is. So if you want a more robust flavour in your farmhouse cheddar or stir-curd cheddar, as we call them as well, using MA 4001 is a good culture to use because it mimics the lactic bacteria that are prevalent in raw milk. So it has 4 strains, 1 thermo, 3 different mesos, and it gives you a very nice cheddar flavour, Jeffrey. So yes, 4001 is the one to do. Dominic says, I imagine that using kefir as a culture is a lot like using clabber, isn't it? Yes, it is. Clabber is where you leave raw milk on the side in a sealed jar for about 3 days and it curdles, obviously increasing the colony of lactic bacteria within it. It has been done for many thousands of years. But yeah, you can only do it when you've got raw milk. Don't use pasteurised milk to make clabber. It won't work. Whatever has infected your milk will be bad bacteria, not good bacteria. So yeah, that's always a problem. But yeah, it is very similar using kefir grains. You ferment the kefir grains. Hang on, I have to come back. What time is it? We've still got 7 minutes. I'll be right back. Gee, I'm using this break time a lot today. Hang on. Right, back again. Thank you for staying around. Hope you didn't. Not many dropped off. But yeah, so I had to get the doggos in. They were scratching my screen door, and if they had to scratch much more, they would have put a hole in it. Thank you, Hamish. Yeah, so as I was saying, Dominic, yeah, kefir grains, you just ferment the kefir in the milk, have a live culture, add it in. Very similar to using yogurt. Live yogurt as a starter culture, and very similar to using cultured buttermilk that you can buy in the stores as a starter culture as well. But using culture buttermilk's a bit hit and miss because you don't know how live the cultures really are within that. Brenton says, for a moment I thought your break music was elevator version of Sadie the Cleaning Lady. No, not that old classic. I can't remember where I got it. I think it's from Epidemic Sound, which I use all their sound bites and stuff and music. That's what you're listening to right now. Royalty-free music, so I don't get a YouTube copyright strike against me. So, anyway, moving right along. So that'll do for today, because the dogs are getting restless again. Sorry about that, Curd Nerds. But anyway, so if you haven't checked out the pizza mozzarella video already, go and check that out. Lots of people seem to be enjoying it. Even non-Curd Nerds are watching it as well, which is great. And I can kind of tell from the YouTube analytics who's watching it and who isn't, as far as subscribers versus non-subscribers. So, yeah, it's always great. But yeah, to pay the bills, as always, don't forget that you can pick up your cheesemaking supplies over at littlegreenworkshops.com.au. We've got lots of stuff, and you may have seen the Curd Nerd newsletter. If you haven't seen the Curd Nerd newsletter, I put that out on a weekly basis. Let me just pull that up so I can put the URL into the chat. The Curd Nerd newsletter is where I talk about if you miss a video, the YouTube feed doesn't give it to you, I promote it weekly on my normal newsletter. So in the chat right there, you'll see the Curd Nerd news. If you want to pick up some amazing merch, like I'm not wearing it at the moment, but I use my Talk Curdy to me mug. I have lots of other mug designs as well. Pop over to merch.cheeseman.tv. A lot of people seem to be picking up this mug. Don't know why. It's my favourite. I just love the joke in it, but it's funny. Anyway, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds, and I will see you at the same bat channel next week on Ask the Cheeseman. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.